Welcome to Mindfork. I'll bet a fair few of you have heard of Finding Frankie, another mascot horror on the scene, but with an interesting twist. You play as a contestant for a game show in Frankie's Parkour Palace as you run, jump, climb, swing and glide your way through a death game designed to take your life. Think Wipeout meets Saw, or maybe just Squid Game. Anywho, with the trailer only coming out a few months ago, you would imagine that there's not a lot to theorise about yet. And to a degree you'd be correct. But I have a feeling that this game is going to get a lot of traction very quickly, so if nothing else, this video would serve as a I did it first to every other video essayist / theorist channel that exists out there. Not to say that I did do it first, because I've already seen quite a few Finding Frankie explained videos out there, so it is what it is. But anyway, to get started we should at least try to answer a few questions. Starting with who are we, where we are, why we're here, and maybe some other little more specific questions we'll get into later. I should also note that all the information I have is from the 2 trailers they've released and the 5 shorts we have, a little bit of internet sleuthing and my own speculation. So first, what and where is this place? Easily enough, the what is pretty simple. Frankie's Parkour Palace, the world's largest indoor trampoline, water and parkour park. As for where exactly we are, we can infer a few things. First off, the only times we get a clear view of the outside is in our apartment, which doesn't seem entirely relevant, and occasionally through the giant windows along the park. They're definitely bleak if you miss it because they blend into the environment pretty well. But basically, the only thing we see out those giant windows are palm trees, and so based on this we can guess that the park is in the southern hemisphere at the most, or somewhere along the equator, since palm trees can only grow in hotter climates. Keep looking though, and eventually in one scene you'll spot a tower of some kind. Since all I can see is a thin pole with a red light at the top, my immediate thought is a cell phone or radio tower of some kind. Doesn't entirely narrow down, but then we remember that the park quite literally had an international advertisement. So what does that mean for the park? Well, it means that we're on an island. Yep, a spooky island situation up in this biz.
Welcome to Spooky Island!
As you can imagine, local businesses will only ever advertise to locals. So it would make sense that an international business would advertise internationally. But a water park? It's just a big building, so it wouldn't seem like an international business, unless there are no locals. Paired with palm trees, a cliche for deserted islands, and radio towers to get a signal out in the middle of nowhere, I'm nothing if not certain that we are on a private island. Next we should move on to the harder questions, like why are we here? I mean, the surface level question isn't that hard to figure out, since it quite literally tells us.
Who seem to be 3 of the 4 unfortunate contestants chosen to participate in the company's last game show before bankruptcy.
This does, however, pose a couple of sub-questions. First one, what caused the bankruptcy? Second, why the change from the wholesome family entertainment to the not-so-wholesome, torturous entertainment? And third, are the 4 quote-unquote random contestants truly random? Well, we can answer all 3 with a little bit of a story, one that I'll clarify as we go through. However long ago, in the starry skies of a weird private island, something sinister about our favourite indoor trampoline, water and parkour park was discovered. Turns out that people kept going missing after attending the park. However, Frankie's, being a giant multi-million-dollar conglomerate, managed to keep themselves squeaky clean, but at the cost of losing business. Rumours began circulating that Frankie's was a glorified death trap, and with the park being out on a strange solitary island, this rumour grounded planes and stopped ships, and eventually the park came to a grinding halt. It didn't matter if the rumours were true or not. What mattered was that enough people were wary of the rumours to make going to the park that much of a risk. And so the place, nearing bankruptcy, decided to go all in on one more game show. Disguising the final game as a random lottery, the park kidnaps 4 people and puts them in the death game they so desired. Alright, so how exactly did I get to this conclusion? Well, first off, with the amount of bodies we see in the trailer, it's clear that the game has been running for some time now. I mean, it's way more than 3 bodies, so it's bound to have been going for quite a while before. And if someone found out they were killing everyone that entered, bankruptcy would be the least of their problems. Which actually transitions into another question. If Frankie's were a death game hosted well before their bankruptcy, and revealing it is what drove them out of business, then how was the final game even made? Why wasn't the entire place shut down as soon as news got out about it having so many fatalities? Because it was only a rumour. For a company that big, the only way you're going to run into bankruptcy without getting the police involved is if the thing that got you hit was public opinion. Rumours. And so, once the rumour got out that Frankie's was dangerous, nobody dared risk the lives of themselves or their children at a place completely isolated from the outside world. Not to mention, if they truly are on a private island, there is no police force. So that's the first question. What caused the bankruptcy? A rumour that spun out of control. Next, why the change from wholesome family entertainment to not so wholesome, torturous entertainment? This one? It's a bit of a trick question. There was no change. They had always been like this. It was only until the bankruptcy did they decide to lay their cards on the table and go all in. I reiterate, the amount of bodies in the trailer is insane. The fact they've been able to kill that many people without attracting police attention means that they've been active for a long time and have been doing it secretly. The sign we see that says, "Congrats, everyone else died instantly," also implies that this death game was made to kill people in the first place. And the final question, are the 4 random contestants truly random? No, they're not. And I can tell you why. At one point in the trailer, we see the most looking death trap in the entire park. Look around, however, and you'll see quite a large variety of messages scratched into the wall. We'll never let you go. We want you, and Saviour specifically. There are definitely other messages, but I can't make them all out. These messages all imply that whoever wrote them knows us, knows the player, and has put them there on purpose. Except Saviour. The word by itself doesn't make a lot of sense in this context, as you may have noticed, but if we consider the idea that the player created the rumours that put the park out of business, shutting down their death games, the word becomes a sarcastic remark meant to antagonise us, because now we're a saviour of their victims. Now, what if I also told you that not only is this last hurrah a special one, but that it's also being streamed to the outside world for the very first time? We know that it was announced that 4 contestants would play in the park's final game show, and with this line,
One contestant seems to still be on the premises and potentially alive.
It's nothing but apparent. Combine these 2 things together and you get one last question. If park management knows us, has put us smack dab in the middle of the carnage, and is actively giving footage of the event to the outside world, then what's so special about us that they're willing to host one final game with us as the final contestants and abandon literally everything? Because we are the ones that made the rumour. Well, we're one of those 4 people. If the park went out of business because of a rumour we spread, why would anyone go back to the place? There's a rumour going around that the park you've been invited to will kill you. Yeah, nah, miss me on that shit. Not to mention that 4 random people were chosen as the final game's contestants? No way. This place has far too much at stake to brush it all away with a final game that's like every other one before it. The only way any of that ball of mud and randomness makes sense is if 1, the 4 lucky contestants advertisement was simply a ruse to get everyone to tune in, 2, the contestants were brought in against their will, and 3, the park management wanted 4 specific people to participate. Add all that up and it equals 4 people responsible for the park's bankruptcy are kidnapped and forced to play in a game they outed to the world. You want everyone to know about the game show? Fine, that's exactly what you're going to get. In summary...
No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
To sum up the summary, this is going to be a great game. And really, this is probably going to be the only time we do a theory about it, since the creators had said that most, if not all, lore is going to be environmental instead of horror, indie game, note documents, and collectibles. So my guess is that the story here is going to be pretty straightforward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to see more, subscribe. I've been pretty slack over the last few months, so here's to keeping it up for another few weeks at best. Join me for the ride if you fancy, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.